Hey everyone, it's Julie Young for Korean American Story and Not Your Average. Today I am in LA with 2/3 of Far East Movement. We've got Kev Nish and Prohgress.
Oh, there we go.
Hey.
I kind of said that with a Korean accent.
I thought you were going to do the and
Korean.
him.
And that guy
What was your name
with
again?
the mustache.
That guy.
James, no.
Oh, wow.
I
You
don't
really
even
did your
speak
homework.
Korean, right?
Huh?
I don't speak Korean. I'm like impressed with myself.
Loving that real love, something you feel of turning me back to the old me. Ride for my real, I die for my real, I give you respect like the OGs. Locking me down like the police, we ain't never be lonely. Protecting my love like a goalie, you be the only one next to me, rock with the homies. We got the empire mind, come out and steadily rise. That be for real, or when the truth doesn't rise.
Kevin, I met you a couple of weeks ago in New York after the Yacht show. I have to admit that I hadn't listened to Identity yet until after I met you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Your Spotify royalties are going to go up a little bit because I've literally, it's been on like nonstop repeat, right? It is amazing.
Thank you.
I love it.
Good man-to-man promo right there. I like that.
Really battle.
No, seriously, it's. I love every single song on it.
Thank you so much.
And the artwork, like I see it up here. Who did the artwork for the cover?
Our in-house designer, Alex from Transparent.
I love it.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. But I know that you guys did. It's all collaborations,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And although you're on some of them, right? So, but you did most of the writing and producing for all the tracks on
Yeah.
that.
Well, we collaborated with some amazing writers and producers as well, but the album was definitely a different direction for us. I think it's a little bit of a growth process, and as we're more involved behind the scenes, we really wanted to establish the production, so not just the party rap stuff that I think we were known for, which we're grateful for, but yeah, we grew up a little bit.
So I want to start from the beginning because I'm actually also very interested in your stories personally. And yes, Kevin, we're giving you a pass today. You're like an honorary
pro here,
Korean
man.
American.
I'll be honest with you, this guy is actually more Korean than any of
And
us
me
in
too.
this room.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Loves Korean food, loves Korean women, loves everything
Okay.
Korean.
I am mad at that. So you're both from California, right? Born and raised. And you grew up together? Or, like, where are you from?
This is high school.
Start with
High school.
Yeah,
High
we
school?
met in K-Town.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And were you both already into music separately, or?
We weren't into music at all. Yeah, he was like the mayor of K-Town, and I was visiting, and we hang out in parking lots and freestyle, and it just turned into, why don't we figure out how to record ourselves and download beats online and just rap. We started as West Coast rappers mimicking like Dog Pound, but he had more of like the intellectual taste. I was more into like
Intellectual meaning like
Yeah, what-
never wanted to step into my car because I was playing really underground ass hip hop.
It was
Shout out
cool.
to Def Jux. That's the stuff that I was listening to.
you were ahead because now it's like Kill a Mic and
True,
it's all
true,
hot
true.
now. So
James, you're Korean American. Did you grow up with a strong sense of being Korean American? Was that a part of your identity? Did you?
Yeah, definitely. My parents are both like really ingrained into like the Korean American community out in Los Angeles. Like I lived in Virginia until I was like 8.
Okay.
And but when my parents moved out here, my dad became a radio talk show host for a show that's on every day for like the last 35 years. So like actually he's like the bigger celebrity in the household.
Oh,
So like
really?
whenever I go places and ask for discounts, I drop my dad's name. And we get the hookup. So
Oh, that's cool.
being Korean American is
radio
always
show about
important.
that he does?
It's called Home Sweet Home. It's a talk show. They play a lot of different types of music. He's always been a conductor, an artist, a producer, all that kind of stuff. So he has like a vast knowledge when it comes to types of music and his own personal experiences. So he brings on different people from the community, talks about different things that are happening, plays music, conversates, and next thing you know, it's noon.
And Kevin, you're Chinese and Japanese,
yes.
right? Did you grow up with a strong sense of that identity, or?
No. Fourth generation Chinese and Japanese, so I think I grew up more Korean. All my friends were Korean, but I mean, I'm very proud of it. I think that's why I was really passionate about learning it, because I came with no knowledge of it, but treated like I'm from there. So
I saw an interview with you guys back in like 2006 or 7. So this is before like a G6, and you were already talking about building community amongst Asian American artists. So has that been sort of like a cornerstone of who you've been as a group, as individuals?
I think when we first got into music, we felt I mean, we felt underrepresented. We felt like the automatic underdog. And I think that one thing as a group of Asian American males growing up in LA, we realized that community is way more important for motivation to just do art, to do something that your parents and your family and everyone else don't want you to do. So you do have to embrace the community. And I think that a lot of entertainers we meet, a lot of people in comedy, directors, writers, they're like, without each other, like we wouldn't all be doing this. Being in a group, being a movement is the only reason why we would continue to do it. Friendship. You know, we talk about that. Like we're like, if I didn't have a friend that did it with me, I definitely wouldn't do it by myself.
Your parents didn't know you were doing this music thing for a while?
The more interesting perspective is definitely pros, because, yeah, no, I mean,
I mean, my parents are both musicians, so therefore, like, they didn't want me to do anything that had to do with music, because they know how hard it is. And like, my parents got very lucky to be able to build a sustainable business, considering, you know, what their skill set was. Like, my mom was teaching piano lessons since I was like 3. But that was one of the reasons why I actually hated to do music. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I also didn't like blood, and I was terrible at math, so I was like, I'll be a lawyer. But it's so weird, like, at the end of high school, you know, what he was talking about when we were rapping in ciphers and stuff like that, I just couldn't get it out of my system. So every weekend, and, you know, I ended up going to school over here as well, I'd meet up with the guys, and, you know, we'd write, like, it was really funny too. Like, the first time he was like, hey, you know, we freestyle a lot, like, you guys have anything written? And I was like, yeah, I'm proud. I pulled out like my one sheet with like my 116 bar verse, and I rapped it. And Kev was like, oh, cool. And he pulls out like this Bible. It was like this big, full of just written rhymes. And, you know, but it was definitely something that was just hard for me to get out of my system. And in the beginning, like, my parents called it a hobby and like kind of laughed it off. But when I dropped out of law school, they definitely didn't like it as much. And then, but I came back, I finished it up and got all that done. And, you know, when things started getting rolling and stuff like that, like, they're definitely happy about it. They're proud. And I'm just grateful that things ended up the way that they did, for sure.
My parents were like really like hippies about it. Just whatever you want to do, as long as you do well, you know, or as long as you love it, I guess. But it was always just, I just have to prove it to my family, you know. But yeah, I don't know. They've always kind of just been indifferent about it, you know.
But so did you, like, was it always your goal to just make a living from music somehow?
No, I wanted to be like a professional skateboarder, then a hockey player, and anyone where there was an Asian person at the lead. So like, you know, Steve Caballero was a big skater, and he had this Asian vibe. So I was like, I want to be him. And then we had Paul Correa, who was playing hockey, and I was like, I want to be him. Realizing that I just gravitated towards wherever there was a role model, I think. And then music, there was a Smashing Pumpkins guitarist, James Iha, and I was like, oh, I want to be him. And then we had Linkin Park, and it's like, it's getting closer. Like, I want to be something. And yeah, it just kind of went that way. Yeah.
You know, I've read how you guys were trolled, you know, on the internet for being Asian American when you first came out, like, hard, right? Does that continue?
Things have definitely changed.
Yeah.
I think over the last 2 years, the internet and the explosion of K-pop and fashion, it's not like that anymore, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is.
I'm like, Asian American guys are having a moment right now.
No, they really are. It was a tough time for us, though. It definitely like makes you doubt like what you're doing, and I don't know, a lot of identity crisis type things, and yeah, it was rough times. Yeah, for sure.
And were you getting that even when like a G6 was out?
Oh,
like,
hell yeah.
That was when it was the worst, right?
Yeah.
You know, I also read that you guys got a lot of feedback from record labels and stuff that it's too Asian, or like, you know, what did that do to you as far as your ambition and your, you know, wanting to move forward?
Made us question everything as far as marketing. There's 4 guys. How do you market 4 Asian dudes? First of all, you're trained to think that Asian males are not sexy or marketable. Then second of all, you got 4 of them, you know? And so we were always getting like, maybe they should add a girl, you know? Like, maybe they should add the girl from the song, you know, the Black Eyed Peas model, which, you know, and there was always that. And it's like, they need to have crazier clothes and become like the Power Rangers, or you know, like there needs to be a
take the attention
marketing
away from
point.
the fact that you're Asian American.
Yeah, and so then it came down to like glasses. Like if they always wear glasses, there's this thing that, you know, and it was during the time of some amazing like pop artists like Lady Gaga. That's when it was really popping. That's why we signed to that label, LMFAO, and so everything had, it was like every artist was a professional wrestler, you know, and where do they fit? Can't just be normal Asian dudes signed to a pop label. So, you know, we're regular, when people meet us, they're like, you know, we're just very, very like, we grew up down the street type dudes. So it was really hard, I think, identity-wise, to like try to figure out how to fit in and open up for Lady Gaga tomorrow. When we just got signed, came from K-Town, came from the Korean barbecue, and like, oh, we got to open for her. We better throw something on, you know. You better figure it out, because it was like, you know, for lack of a better term, like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
We had
Real
to act
quick.
like we
What
meant.
was that like, 0 to 100?
I mean, you know, you make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
You definitely, and you have to try to overthink it and compensate. Get thrown in the studio with David Guetta and not figure out how to do that. And we just made this at home on our computer, and we don't, you know, we can't. How do we play with will.i.am and Freal and open up for him? And so it was like, it was constant catch up, and I think through that, constantly reading online, because we started as like how Linkin Park started, being on the forums, feeling a part of the community and the fans, and then seeing like just constantly being trashed, decision after decision, video after video, song after song, when really we just wanted to make pop music. You know, we're like, because we were very socially conscious. Back in the day, we were throwing community events together. And one thing that was always is like, why don't you complain more in your songs and create change? And we always came from the perspective like, is that change? Or maybe if we're always about, how can we put a positive thing on that? So we're like, what if we were to just make a song that everyone loved, and then maybe they realize, holy shit, they're Asian, and is that change? Is that social change? And we're like, let's try that approach.
Right.
So that's what really drove us to pop music. We're like, pop can change culture, or can seep into culture the way that being in, like we were doing songs complaining, we were doing all that, you know, and we loved that.
Folk music stuff?
No, this is before
way before
that.
that.
Before that, we were putting out just like, you know, written poetry, like just things that frustrated us being Asian American. And during that time, there was a lot. And I don't know, pop was that perspective. So it was really tough. Identity, which is not mean to go back to that, not trying to promote it, but that's,
No, we're going back to
it
that.
meant
That's
a
okay.
lot. Like we were very, very, there was a lot of frustration when we thought we were trying to do something for the community, and feeling like it
You're
just
still
was
getting so
constantly
much
being,
negative feedback.
yeah.
Yeah.
Through the early part of our promotion, working G6 and stuff, it was like, there is no identity for Asian American artists, so everyone's like, are they K-pop? And we were always fighting that. Always like, oh, no, we gotta stay away from that, so people just see us as we are, as just LA guys. Always represent the West. We always put that in our press releases, in all of our interviews, K-Town, LA, downtown. And because you go to France and they're like, oh, K-pop.
Right.
You know, and that's just what they know.
Right.
And so we were always battling that. There was a constant identity problem. And so when we went back to Asia the second time, kind of just not wanting to do music, it was enlightening in a sense that we started to embrace the culture. We started seeing like everything that frustrated us and everything that we were kind of like trying to figure out how to not associate with was actually a point of power. And that I think it was a huge risk for us at the same time, because we had a song that we knew was the song For Real Love. It's like, do you put Wiz Khalifa on that second verse, or do you throw someone that can't fully speak, you know, English on that? And they're like, why would you sabotage a hit? And we're like, nah, it's not about, we're not chasing that right now. It's a new direction, a new mentality for us. Let's just follow our gut.
I'm a fighter. What do you wanna do now? You a fighter? whatever you gotta go through. Fighter.
One of the songs that I think means a lot to the group and kept was the song Fighter with Yoonmirae. And not just the fact that we respect her so much and it was an honor to work with like a living legend in a sense, but more that was during the time when we needed the inspiration. Like this was like really therapeutic for us in a sense. And a lot of the chord, you know, the melodies and the chords are of inspirational kind of like world tone. And you know, when you are doing the discovery thing and wanting to quit, like we literally was like, let's just, you know, let's be managers, let's just forget the music stuff, let's not make another album anymore. That song and the process of making it like really drove us to like finish it.
Yeah. I have this quote, I don't know where I got it from, it's from one of the interviews I saw of you guys. It's a beautiful thing to have something you can believe in that's bigger than yourself, and if society won't let you in, create your own. That's what you guys have done now, right?
We try. I think that's always been our unofficial like moniker and mentality, because we've always felt, and I'm sure that you know, as Asian Americans, you guys feel that too. Is society like never wants to let you in unless you fit the framework, but that's not going to stop an American dream and an immigrant family and people that just that believe in something. So we just always felt we've always, like, we call our company International Secret Agents for purely the fact that it's made of a group of people that aren't given a direct way in. So you have to be secret agents about it and go through the secret doors and go through, climb a rope ladder, but we're all still gonna get there.
Right.
There's no doubt about it, and creating your own path is always the way to do things.
You guys started Transparent when?
It was built off of survival and necessity, because when we got signed to a major, you realized you're not given the road in. Like you literally have to do it with your team and on your own terms, because if you just wait for an executive to open up a budget and do things for you, you're gonna get shelved, you're gonna die out, and we're all not gonna be able to do what we love to do. So Transparent was, I'd say, our solution to consistently do what we love.
Okay, so you guys have worked with Snoop, and I heard that was sort of one of your biggest thrills as artists, right?
In many ways, we did this show once in Malta. It was like an MTV show, and Snoop had us come out during his set.
Oh, word.
And he like I think he deleted like Gin and Juice or some shit for that. When we came on though, he had the homies pass us our mics when they were on stage. So literally Corrupt, Daz, and was it Warren?
Warren G.
And Warren G passed us our mic,
That's
passed us the
respect.
mics. We went with their mics to get up out there. And that's crazy, because that's like the stuff that we would always listen to, and that inspired us.
And you know what I love that he said is, he was like, you know, you guys don't really have a genre. You're just your own selves. I think that is so true. And I love that he appreciates that and sees, you know, the talent and gets that.
Yeah, we've always been
unashamed
about just loving music, whether it's pop or you got dumb and hip hop, and we just love music, man.
Yeah.